please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
You're joining us on Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar and with me is Sonia Shenoy. Sonia, good afternoon. It's a good day of trade today. Record levels yet again, and the market has clearly made a distinction between the big boys and the rest of the space. So it's clearly the large cap and the key indices which are really gaining and are conquering newer levels. So at the high point of the day, Sensex as well as Nifty, but it's the mid-cap space which is almost flattish, just in the green at this point, and banks are the laggards today. ICICI Bank, which was rocking yesterday, is one of the big laggards when it comes to the banking pack, but it's Kotak Mahindra Bank, which is up and about today, but still that 1400 level that it had recently conquered is long elusive. As far as market breadth is concerned, well, that is also more on the declining side, clearly because the mid-cap universe is not participating today, Sonia.
Well, it isn't, but I think the stock of the moment undoubtedly is Reliance Industries. I mean, it's single-handedly taking the market higher. Just look at the move on Reliance this afternoon. If you pull up the contribution chart, you'll notice that out of the 53 points that the Nifty is seeing in terms of a gain, a big chunk of it really is coming from Reliance Industries alone. Look at that, 23 points just from Reliance Industries. HDFC, Infosys, Maruti are the others, but it is the big boy that is sitting at a new high now, 1,317 rupees there. Of course, standard disclosure, owner of the channel that you're watching. Apart from that, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, TCS are all stocks that are hitting new highs as well. But a whole host of stocks buzzing on the back of some brokerage notes. Anisha is here to give us a quick roundup on all of that. Anisha, over to you.
Good afternoon, Sonia. I'll start with NTPC because Bank of America has written a note on it, and they believe that whether the resolution happens in the near term or the long term of the power assets, NTPC stands to gain. Now, they say that if the bankruptcy is announced in the stressed power asset case, NTPC, given its strong balance sheet, can be the consolidator of these stressed power assets, and if there is a delay in the resolution, well, NTPC could be asked to manage these assets in the interim, hence standing to gain the O&M fee. So whichever way you cut it, BofA believes that NTPC stands to gain, and that's why they have a buy rating on the stock. Moving on to Marico, wherein Bank of America Merrill Lynch has actually downgraded the stock. They believe that Kerala floods will hinder the prices of copra, and that's why they're expecting a 10 to 15% increase in bulk copra prices in near term, and hence expecting some margin compression for Marico. Moving on to CLSA, which is written on TTK Prestige, and actually they've increased the target price now to 7,725 versus 7,010, which was earlier. They believe that new schemes of the government like Ujjwala, etc. are expected to really boost the demand for this company. In fact, we had a word with the management earlier who said that the rural demand uptake looks strong, as well as the margin compression does not look likely given the input cost prices are pretty much stable. Lastly, Citi has written on J. Kumar Infrastructure. Actually, they've initiated coverage. They have a target price of 416 on that one. Back to you.
All right, Anisha, thanks so much for getting us all those details on buzzing stocks. But let's shift focus to one particular pocket, which is the news of the day. Fertilizer stocks, they are surging in trade today, and sources tell Network 18 that they will now be paid subsidies every week. CNBC Awaaz Lakshman Roy joins us with all the details. Lakshman, आप हमें बताएं कि ये fertilizer subsidy का now अब वितरण हर सप्ताह होगा?
बिल्कुल हर हफ्ते होगा। ऐसा इसलिए होगा क्योंकि सरकार ने देश के सभी जिलों में, सभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट में फर्टिलाइजर सेक्टर में डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफ़र लागू कर दिया है। ये जो डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफ़र है बाकी सेक्टर से काफ़ी अलग है। अलग इस मायनों में है कि बाकी सेक्टर में डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफ़र जो सामान को खरीदते हैं उनको दिया जाता है उनके खाते में, लेकिन यहाँ पे जो सामान को बेचेंगे यानी फर्टिलाइज़र बेचने वाली कंपनियों के खाते में डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफ़र दिया जाएगा। जो व्यवस्था की गई है उसके मुताबिक एक हफ्ते के भीतर फर्टिलाइज़र कंपनी के जितने फर्टिलाइज़र बेचे जाएंगे, हफ्ते के आखिर में उस फर्टिलाइज़र पर जितनी सब्सिडी की देनदारी सरकार की बनती है वो सारी सब्सिडी सरकार हफ्ते के आखिर में दे देगी। यानी अब महीनों इंतजार नहीं करना पड़ेगा। अभी फर्टिलाइज़र कंपनियों को करीब 6 महीने 8 महीने तक इंतजार करना पड़ता था। कई बार स्पेशल बैंकिंग अरेंजमेंट के जरिए उनको पैसे जुटाने पड़ते थे जो उनको महंगा पड़ता था। अब ऐसा नहीं होगा, हर हफ्ते के आखिर में उनके फर्टिलाइज़र सब्सिडी का भुगतान कर दिया जाएगा। इसके लिए एक स्पेशल पेमेंट गेटवे तैयार किया गया है। उस स्पेशल पेमेंट गेटवे पर वित्त मंत्रालय और फर्टिलाइज़र मंत्रालय दोनों काम कर रहे थे। अब उसको अंतिम रूप दे दिया गया है और सूत्र बता रहे हैं कि अगले हफ्ते से ये पेमेंट गेटवे शुरू हो जाएगा काम करना, जिसके तहत हर हफ्ते में उनको सब्सिडी का भुगतान कर दिया जाएगा।
To business lunch, it's looking pretty good for the markets, you'd have to say. So there's no selling pressure yet. We've seen some volatility through the course of the day, but by and large, this market has had a steady footing on the upside. Couple of stocks, though. Adani Transmission has had a really good run. This month, Adani Transmission has given you 40% returns, and today it's made up a chunk of that. Look at that, 15% higher now there. Edelweiss Financial is resuming its uptrend. It's up about 2.5% there. Godrej Consumers, M&M Finance, Kansai Nerolac are a couple of other stocks that are looking pretty good. By the way, it's weakening further for the rupee, so 70.25 now. And of course, a weakening rupee is always good for the economy, but nevertheless, just keep it in mind, weakening further for the dollar rupee at the moment. But let's shift focus to Page Industries, the stock of the day, the stock of the year, maybe the stock of the last 10 years. I mean, this is a stock that has been a 100-bagger since it listed. Mangalam Malu will analyze the company's journey since the time of its IPO in 2007.
At the races, they say you don't bet on the horse, you bet on the jockey. And if one did bet on the jockey in the IPO in 2007, then they would have made returns of over 100 times. Page Industries, the stock price crossed the 36,000 mark in today's trading session. That means it's 100 times over its issue price of 360 rupees. Remember, the company was offered at a band of 360 to 395. Not much takers then. In fact, when it listed, it ended lower at 280 rupees. Ever since, the stock has moved about 100 times. So 15 shares was the minimum lot size. It had one bought there and applied and held on. That 5,400 rupee jockey would have actually been a Savile Row suit at 5,40,000 rupees itself. But it's not just the share price which has moved 100 times. It's also the company's financials. The revenue has grown 17 times, the margins have expanded, and the net profit has actually grown 21 times itself. So a trip down jockey's memory lane. So if you take a look at their revenues, it was at around 150 odd crores in FY7. In 1997, it was around 7 crores itself. So a 300 times return from 97 to 2018, and a 30% CAGR over the last 11 years. Similar is the case for their EBITDA as well, just about 27 crores, and that one's moved to 541 crores. And the net profit, that one on the back of strong margin expansion and revenue growth, has grown at a CAGR of 32%. The stock, not cheap at all, trades at 68 times FY20 earnings. Most would argue that it is expensive, but many would also say that for the kind of brand strength that it has, the kind of distribution that it has, and a 10-year average ROE of 50%, some would say these valuations are justified. The management joined us. They said that going forward, the triggers, one would be tapping into women's wear, leisure wear, as well as the Speedo business, which they're growing, currently a small part of their business, but they do enjoy a high market share out there. Also, going forward, what we will watch out for is the company's guidance. Revenue growth of 20% for 20 years. Also, the ROEs, they should not go below 50% is what the management says, with a margin between 21 to 22%. I remember interviewing Mr. Ginomal, and he said our biggest competition is ourselves. So that is Page's 100 times journey.
All right, stupendous journey there. Thanks, Mangalam, for putting that all into perspective. The stock is gaining in trade today as well. But rupee, keep an eye on that one. That's weakening fast. 70 rupees, 27 paise to a dollar. That's the level of rupee at the moment. Let's take it straight to some political development, an important one, and that an opposition slams BJP for stalling the parliamentary report on demonetization. Our colleague Parikshit Luthra joins us from New Delhi with all the details. Tell us, Parikshit.
For the past several months, the Parliamentary Committee on Finance, which is headed by Veerappa Moily, was preparing a report on demonetization. They held deliberations with several key stakeholders, including members of the RBI. This report, CNBC-TV18 has been told, would have been critical of the government. Members of the panel have told CNBC-TV18 that the intended purpose of demonetization was to check fake currency and bring back black money and encourage a digital economy. None of that has happened. We've gone back to a cash economy. There is more black money in the market, and there has been a setback to the GDP as well. This is what several members of the panel have been saying over the last couple of months. Having said that, this report was in the final stages. It could have been tabled in the monsoon session, but now we believe that this report has been stalled by BJP members. This is what several leaders are telling CNBC-TV18. They are accusing the BJP MPs of stalling the adoption and tabling of this report because it is critical of the government and would have embarrassed the government if it would have been brought in the parliament and public domain. Many opposition members are also upset with the chairman, Veerappa Moily, for not taking a tougher stand and for giving in to BJP pressure. The tenure of this particular committee ends this month. Therefore, the fate of this report on demonetization is absolutely sealed even though Veerappa Moily remains hopeful. He has put out a tweet saying that this report will be taken up for consideration next month, and he's hopeful of consensus.
Okay, Pariksha, do stay with us. The BJP has scheduled a day-long meeting with all the chief ministers and the deputy chief ministers today. What are the key discussions that are likely?
We are here at the BJP headquarters in the national capital, where the Prime Minister and the BJP President Amit Shah are meeting all BJP chief ministers and deputy chief ministers. Top leaders of the party from the centre, central ministers have also been invited for this day-long brainstorming session, where they are going to discuss the strategy for 2019 elections and the upcoming assembly elections in Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, threadbare. What the Prime Minister and Amit Shah are likely to do, they are going to seek feedback and reports about the implementation of government schemes for the poor, for the backward and for the farmers on the ground, and how there could be better implementation in the run-up to 2019 elections. There would be a greater focus in this meeting on reviews and feedback from election-bound states, from Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, and also the Chief Ministers of other election-bound states. Having said that, the party would also like to send out a message to the opposition for 2019. Remember, the Congress party has decided to have a month-long agitation over the Rafale deal, hold over 100 press conferences by all its top leaders. So in this particular meeting that is happening at the BJP headquarters, Amit Shah and the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they could spell out the party strategy on how to counter the opposition and which are the points that the BJP spokespersons, MPs, chief ministers, deputy chief ministers must focus on in their respective states.
All right, Parikshit, thanks so much for getting us all those details. Of course, clearly the union elections momentum is picking up. With that, we'll slip into a short breather on the show. But coming up on the other side, India's ace shuttler, PV Sindhu. If you're watching Business Lunch, take a look at some of the counters which are really spiking up at this point. In fact, Adani Enterprises, take a look at that. That has gone up above 2% in trade, almost 3%, and sudden breakout is being seen in that particular counter. SL Propack, that from the mid-cap universe, has also seen a sudden gain and a sudden spike. So keep an eye out for that one, 4.5% up. Torrent Power, another counter on my radar, which has also spiked in trade and is up over 2.5%. As far as big, blue chips are concerned, ICICI Bank has been a laggard, but has shown some bit of improvement in the last few minutes of trade. But overall, it's down 0.5% at the moment. So overall, the key indices are doing completely well at this point. And there's lots to talk about the global market as well, Sonia.
Oh, yes, there is. In fact, across the globe, if you look at it, the European markets opened higher after United States and Mexico closed that new trade deal, potentially removing a source of uncertainty that had been plaguing investors for months. Doing away with the sunset clause, the United States and Mexico have now agreed to a 16-year deal with an extension review due every 6 years. Asian markets too ended higher, buoyed by a record close on Wall Street. So looking pretty good there.
Oh, yes, but there's a big development when it comes to money flowing into India as well. And Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has picked up stake in India's largest digital payments company, Paytm. And Berkshire Hathaway has confirmed to CNBC that they have invested in 197 Communications, Paytm's parent company. And they, however, caveated that Warren Buffett was not personally involved in the deal. And we understand from our sources that Berkshire is likely to pick up 3 to 4% stake in 197 Communications. And Paytm is currently, remember, backed by Jack Ma. So that is also another big investor in that particular company as well. So big giants as far as e-commerce is concerned coming into India.
Oh, absolutely. It's a big win, right, for Indian entrepreneurs. I mean, if you talk about Vijay Shekhar Sharma, the kind of journey that he had since he started Paytm, coming from a very small background and now backed by one of the largest billionaires in the world. But moving on, in a key development, M.K. Stalin has been elected as the party president of the DMK. The DMK General Council meeting, where the 65 district secretaries of the party proposed Stalin's name, ended with the coronation of M.K. Stalin as the party president. Remember, the coronation was preceded by a succession war with his own brother Alagiri, who openly rebelled against Stalin. It needs to be seen how Alagiri responds to this elevation. Among the other list of resolutions is also the key demand to award Bharat Ratna to the late DMK patriarch Karunanidhi.
All right, and there is heavy downpour across NCR triggered rush hour jam in parts of Delhi as well as Gurugram, and waterlogging was reported from several areas, adding to the woes to the morning commuters. Overnight, heavy rains threw life in Gurugram out of gear, bringing traffic to a standstill.
Okay, a lot of natural calamities first in Kerala, and now hopefully things don't deteriorate further, but heavy rains as of now across Delhi and NCR. But on to action from the Asian Games. India's ace shuttler PV Sindhu once again had to settle for silver as she lost in the women's singles final in Jakarta. PV Sindhu lost 13-21, 16-21 to the Taiwanese world #1 in the finals. Women's archery team though added another silver to the medals tally as the Korean team gained the lead and took the gold with a win of 231 to 228. After the women's Kampan team, the Indian men's archery team also won a silver after a heartbreaking defeat to Korea in the finals. India, the defending champions, were not able to retain their crown but put in a sensational performance, only losing in a shoot-off round at the end. India's wonder boy and flag bearer Neeraj Chopra has won gold in the men's javelin throw event. He broke the national record on his way to winning gold with an effort of 88.06 meters. And what a performance it was for Neeraj, 20-year-old. I mean, a tall feat at this young age.
Oh yes, young performers and getting medals for India. So that was all the action coming in from the sports world. But let's, before we wrap up, get you some market opinion also going. And earlier today, we spoke to our market master of the day, Atul Suri, who's the CEO of Marathon Trends, PMS, who believes that this bull market will carry on for another 2 to 3 years. Very bullish commentary coming in from him.
The last 1,000 points have really taken most people by surprise. You know, we were coming out of a 6-month, very difficult market, and where a lot of the mid-cap, small-cap indexes were down 20-30%. So people are really surprised, and they're really looking for these reasons, you know. So I really think that one must have a belief in the longer-term trend that we are in this market, and one must not really wait for the perfect situation, perfect correction that at which stage I'll deploy. You must get into this market. Yes, it's run up a lot. Yes, it will correct. But the thing is that you have to look beyond these short-term cycles and ultimately be allocated to equities, because I still feel that we are part of a larger bull market, which I think will carry on for the next 2 to 3 years. The market leadership has changed. There has been a sectorial change. So a lot of people again find themselves in stocks, spaces, which the market is doing a lot, but it's not much happening. And you will have to bite the bullet and ultimately be fierce enough to really exit out of these positions and get into new sectors. I'm not speaking of 1 week, 1 day, 1 month. I'm speaking on a multi-year trend. So this fresh round, this 1,000-point rally has thrown up new sectors. It's very easy for us to see what they are. It's very evident already on the screen. But the difficult part is to be able to exit those that are not performing. I feel that technology still has a lot of legs. There are some mid-caps out there. Again, I have a vested interest. I do have mid-cap IT in my portfolio. I feel the kind of chart formations that they have is very sublime. I'm a dollar bull, right? In the short run, I think the USD has been on the back foot, but I personally think that the US dollar is going to strengthen going further. And the key beneficiaries, apart from performance of these mid-cap IT stocks, is also going to be currency. For me, the top picks continue to be consumption, which I have been saying for the last 3-4 months, MNC pharma stocks, and private financials, which still seems to be the overweight or the mega trend as far as I go. The kind of chart formations, the lifetime highs, the volumes, the delivery volumes, the quality of breakouts that is happening in MNC pharma is again fantastic.
Okay, that's the word. Very optimistic views actually coming in from Atul Suri. But getting back to the markets, one space that's doing very well in the last half an hour to 1 hour is the power space. So just look at the Adani Group stocks, Adani Enterprise, Adani Transmission. In the last hour, they've gained about 0.5 to 1%. Suzlon, of course, still a 7 rupee stock, but doing pretty well. NTPC is one stock too that has moved to the high point. So lots of these names doing pretty well. But the day clearly belongs to the bulls. So in case you want to watch all the market action, don't go anywhere. Mid-cap radar comes up on the other side. With that, it's curtains down on Business Lunch.